Online, on your phone. Stay connected with NECN, New England's connection.
The time now is 10 o'clock, and we want to look at some of the early results here in New England, Massachusetts, in the presidential race going to Joe Biden. Maybe no surprise there, with an overwhelming majority of the votes in the Bay State. And a similar scene in other states in New England. Vermont went fairly early as well. The 3 electoral votes in that state going to Joe Biden as well. 10 o'clock, just a couple more states out west closing their polls for the first time. But it's looking like more and more of the country now officially closing their polls, except for the far west coast and like Alaska and Hawaii. Really not getting even a bigger picture of what we got just yet.
Yeah, it's time to tabulate for a lot of states, and it's time for us to also do the math on what is the path for either candidate. So let's get right out to our Brian Shackman, because he is our mathematician. He's at the touch screen, and he is guiding us through this all. Brian.
No, I don't think anyone's called me a mathematician since 6th grade math, but I do want to reset the whole table for you. In terms of electoral votes, we're at 89 for Biden, 72 for Trump. Again, we have 377 left, but I wanted to actually focus in on here for a second. With 40% of the expected vote, we haven't talked about the popular vote yet in terms of the bigger picture. Right now, Trump is leading the popular vote 50.7% to 48, 32 million to 30 million. So we've had, if you include the other, it's, 63 million votes have cast, and they expect 96 million. If we get 160 million votes cast, that is going to be the most votes we've probably ever seen in a presidential election. In terms of percentage of registered voters, that's something I need to tabulate. I also wanted to update people on Texas because we talked about it a couple times. I think it bears a closer look in terms of where we are now, because Biden had been ahead. Well, that has flipped, okay? And so right now, Donald Trump is ahead with 50.5% to 48. So roughly, if you do the math, it's maybe a little over 200,000 votes with 77% in. So that has trended toward Trump for the last hour or so. Remember, just about an hour ago, Biden was just a sliver ahead. So I don't know if it's going to expand the lead like it has in Florida. Let's take a quick look also at Ohio, if we can. And I'm getting better, guys, at my spelling, or at least I looked beforehand to where those were so I could be straight. Right now in Ohio, again, this is really, it's not a firewall for Biden, because he's not really favored to win. It's kind of a toss-up. But right now, Trump is pulled ahead here. Remember, we looked at it before, and Biden was ahead. Now it's 2.5 points, basically, in Trump's favor, with 69% in. That's roughly 100,000 votes right now. And as we can look over here again, it's classic true to form. Trump has more counties, but the urban centers are blue. Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, all blue. Now, if we look at the larger map right now in terms of what we're looking for, this is what's been called. There has been nothing that has been flipped in terms of expectations, right? So we're waiting to hear on Texas, Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Most people do not expect it to be called this evening. And in terms of the way we focused on Joe Biden's chances, I think Ohio was really crucial to the last path we talked about, because if Biden somehow wins Pennsylvania, he wins Michigan, and wins Wisconsin, there's probably not enough of a path to get him to the presidency. Let's just take a quick look at, this is the 2016 map, flipping these 3 states, and that gets him to 278. That could be the only path that Biden has if everything went true to form. Many things can change right now, but in terms of Texas and Florida, they've definitely been trending red in the last hour, guys.
Okay, Brian Shackman out there for us. Thanks so much. We'll get back to him in a little bit, but for now, let's take a look at the results coming in from some of the other big races across New England. Senator Ed Markey keeping his Senate seat to represent Massachusetts on Capitol Hill. That race has been called. In New Hampshire, it's Jean Shaheen with the win there, keeping her Senate seat. And also, here is one that we've been watching very closely, Tim.
Yeah, one of the tightest races in the country right here in New England. You're looking at the Maine Senate race. Only about 16% reporting at the moment, so a very small percentage, but of those people who have been counted so far, Susan Collins with a considerable lead over Sarah Gideon. I do feel like this one will close as more numbers come in, but we'll have to wait and see. Dustin Bukowski, well, he's been following this contest all year long. He's really on top of this one.
Yeah, and she already spoke tonight. She seemed pretty optimistic, but it's really hard to read into that because this is a race that could take a while. Let's talk to Dustin about this right now. Dustin, what are your feelings right now about where this stands?
You know, I think we're going to be seeing this going back and forth all night. That's the sense that Senator Collins gave in her speech. It's the same thing that her supporters told us a little bit earlier. Now, talking about that speech, it was really a thank you speech. This was certainly not by any stretch of the imagination a victory speech. Collins came out just to check in with the folks that are here at the Hilton Garden Inn in Bangor watching results with her tonight. The senator actually saying that she's grateful that the campaign is winding down because she's tired of watching the negative campaign ads and that they're going to stop soon. She did take a few swipes, though, at her opponent, Democrat Sarah Gideon. She talked about the large amount of money that came in from out of state to fund Gideon's campaign. She also talked about what could be described as the brutality of this campaign. Collins and Gideon have traded attacks on each other's record, each other's integrity, and Collins alluded to that tonight, saying everything's been thrown at her and the kitchen sink could still be coming. Even talking to her supporters after Collins' speech, they feel she's been put through a rough set of weeks, you could argue a rough set of years. That said, there's no doubt a lot of excitement for her here tonight, not dampened at all by the race's tone.
She's an extraordinary individual, and we're very fortunate to have her. I think those people who know Susan well and understand her, it's totally undiminished. She's been the subject of an unprecedented onslaught of negative campaigns, and it's simply a testament to the character of this individual that she's been able to do as well as she has, and we're looking forward to a very...
This has been a really tough campaign, and I think our side's been put through the ringer on this.
We can't say it enough, guys. This could be a really, really, really long wait, either if the race is close and one of the two candidates who's expected to be on top, either Gideon or Collins, breaks over that 50% margin, or if they don't do that and it ends up in a ranked choice recount, which, again, could take a week to 2 weeks to get a result from. But for now, live in Bangor, Maine, Dustin Lekowski, NECN.
Thanks so much, Dustin. And now let's get out to Portland, Maine, where we find our Perry Russum. He has been following Sarah Gideon's camp. And Perry, any action there that you can speak of? I know it's hard with the social distance kind of campaigning style that we're all now watching unfold throughout the evening.
Yeah, nothing yet. So this is Sarah Gideon's watch party, but it's just the media that's here. It's closed to the public because of the pandemic. We have not heard from Gideon since her tweet at 7:30 that we told you about an hour ago. We know she is here at the hotel watching the results come in with her family. It's been a long last few days for her, visiting all 16 counties in Maine. Her day today started up in Bangor, ending up in Portland, where we are right now, a final push to get the votes. If she does win, she could play a role in flipping the Senate. Control of the Senate can make or break a presidency with what they can do together. Today we were with Gideon, and she was asked if she's nervous or excited about the idea of serving in the Senate.
I don't know how else to describe it except for that it is a tremendous responsibility to feel that you are in a position to make change for people, but that change is hard and requires so much of us.
So it's still not clear if or when we will hear from her tonight, but if she does, we are here, guys.
Okay, Perry, thanks so much for that report.
Let's head over to New Hampshire, a state both Trump and Biden had their eyes on, maybe a bit closer than some people expected tonight.
Yeah, and it could become a prize for them, especially if it tightens even further. Our Catherine Underwood continues our live team coverage tonight in Manchester, New Hampshire. And Catherine, you're covering the Democratic side of things. What are people feeling like there?
Well, Jackie and Tim, I'll just explain first why we're outside of the Puritan. I mean, every aspect of our lives has been different amid the pandemic, so why would election night be any different? We are outside the Puritan because Democratic leaders just held kind of an impromptu press conference. They are not holding any sort of traditional election night party, so there's no Democratic headquarters here in New Hampshire on election night. I'll tell you, in all of the elections I've covered, that has never been the case. So yeah, it's kind of a weird time right now. But Democrats out at the polls today, they tell me that they are calmly confident that Joe Biden will win New Hampshire. They say they are proud of their ground game, and they really think it's going to pay off. They're also proud to hear that voter turnout has been record-breaking, not only here in the city of Manchester, but also in cities and towns across the state. They say that is why they believe results are taking a little longer than usual to come in.
We have same-day registration. Hundreds of people in each and every ward in Manchester, in large cities and in the towns are registering. So it's actually, I think, a testament to how many New Hampshire folks participated and took the opportunity to vote today that's slowing down some of our race results.
So Democrats say because we don't have a presidential winner yet in New Hampshire doesn't mean it's going to be anybody but Joe Biden. The polls we've seen have shown him with a strong lead, a double-digit lead leading up to Election Day, although we know those polls mean nothing as soon as election night results roll in. So we'll be waiting to hear what happens here in New Hampshire. But for now, reporting live in Manchester, Catherine Underwood, back to you guys.
Okay, thanks so much, Catherine. And now let's check in on the Trump campaign up there in New Hampshire.
Yeah, Trump and a number of his surrogates visited New Hampshire in the last month or so, clearly an indication that they wanted the state and they were down in the polls. Michael Rosenfield following that side of the story. You think it helped those last-second visits, Michael?
You never know. We'll see how these numbers pan out tonight. I can tell you that Republicans have not yet given up on the Granite State going for Donald Trump this evening. They were fairly confident coming into tonight, even though Joe Biden had been leading in the polls fairly substantially in recent weeks. And so far, the numbers tonight show him again with a healthy lead. We'll see if these numbers hold up tonight. But again, we are with the GOP, the Republican Party here in New Hampshire tonight. They are not doing a virtual event. They are doing more of a traditional watch party here at the Doubletree Hotel in downtown Manchester. We can take you inside, show you some pictures. It's a mixed bag for Republicans here in New Hampshire this evening. Senate candidate Corky Messner has lost his long-shot campaign to longtime politician Jeanne Shaheen, but Republican Governor Chris Sununu has won his re-election campaign. His opponent has conceded. We heard from the governor a short time ago.
This is New Hampshire, right? We got a lot of dust to settle here before it is all done, but we're feeling very good. We're watching a lot of the down ballot races, watching the Senate race, the House race, the Executive Council races. So we are feeling very, very good. It takes a little time for those numbers to come in, so there's still a long way to go on all of that. But right now, it looks like we are carrying the message, and the message is something that resonated with everybody.
So far, no final results in the presidential race here in New Hampshire between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Trump is hoping to win the state's 4 electoral votes, something he could not do 4 years ago. That's latest live in Manchester. I'm Michael Rosenfield.
Okay, thanks so much, Michael. And we still have so much more to cover. Obviously, so much more still has to come in to get a clear indication of who's winning the presidency, who's winning the Senate, ballot questions.
Yeah, those battleground states have not been called just yet. Those are the ones we're keeping an eye on, especially in the presidential race. Everything has gone as expected so far, but still a lot of night ahead for potential surprises. And we're going to be covering it all right here on NECN. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Get more than just the headlines. Join Jackie and Tim as they take a deep dive into the biggest news of the day.
Here on The 10, we make it our mission to dig a little deeper.
10 straight minutes on the topics you want to know more about.
We want to take a second look at what ranked choice voting is.
Answering all your questions, even the ones you didn't know you had.
Man's best friend, maybe man's best tool in the fight against COVID-19.
Get more out of your news with The 10. Weeknights at 10, only on NECN, New England's Connection.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Who am I? Under eye bags and wrinkles are so frustrating. I came across Plexaderm and I was so excited. We have a model. All he's doing is taking a small amount. It's so powerful. That's all it takes. Tightens the skin and smooths it out. Gently rub it underneath your eyes, on your fine lines and wrinkles, and it visibly disappears in as little as 10 minutes.
You know, I felt something happening, but I had no idea. Like, I have so many dark circles, I have the puffiness, I have the lines. Like, it's amazing. I love it.
Holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good, feels great, looks even better.
This Thanksgiving is the best time to get Plexaderm for only $14.95 and see it work for yourself after your first application. Your solution is at plexadermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback. Jerry Rice, legendary wide receiver. When legends play, They wear CopperFit Advanced Back Pro. CopperFit's best-selling compression back support just got better with new double-band adjustable supports for customizable compression when you need it most.
That's what I'm talking about.
4 built-in stabilizing supports designed to improve posture and help reduce lower back stress and strain.
You have back pain and it's affecting your everyday life. Do something. Since I put this on, I feel so much better. The core is the most important thing. To know that I'm stabilized here. Whatever I'm doing, I can give it 100%.
Call 1-800-979-8521 or on the web at advancedbackpro.com for only $19.99.
This does feel good. That's what I've been saying. You think it was fair? It was fun. CopperFit, live limitless.
Welcome back to our Decision 2020 coverage here on NECN. We, of course, are following the road to 270. And one state that I'm really interested in, Arizona right now, Tim.
Yeah, it's early in the battle, so we got a lot more states to get called. Arizona potentially could go either way. Let's get to our Brian Checkman, focused specifically on Arizona and the rest of the country.
Yeah, we really haven't talked about Arizona at all yet, so I wanted to touch on it because some of these states have been trending red. The initial, we have 73% in right now. Biden at 53.9 to 44.9%. So that is the lead right now. Again, so early, but it is about 200,000 votes. And we also see the trend, as we've seen, Phoenix and Tucson strongly blue. So again, too early to call, but it is worth noting that right now Joe Biden is ahead. And also, earlier in the evening, we talked a lot about the Senate race there. And by the way, if Arizona went blue, it'd be the first flip of the night, right? We haven't seen anything flipped different than 2016. In terms of Mark Kelly and Martha McSally, they're 72% in, too early to call. But right now, Kelly ahead of McSally by double digits. So if that holds true to form, you would get another blue seat in the U.S. Senate. And that would make it for the night a +1. Because remember, I think that the Democrats are going to lose in Alabama, and they won with John Hickenlooper in Colorado. I want to bring in Ozzy Palomo from Chartwell Strategies now to talk a little bit about where we stand now. Ozzy, I know the last hour or so you've been really focused on North Carolina and Ohio. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, North Carolina extremely close, and it seemed to have a little bit kind of tipped towards the Trump campaign on that. But again, a small razor-thin margin there. Same thing with Ohio. I think we saw the rural vote come in a little later than expected. And obviously that seems to be kind of trending towards Trump as well. I think it's important. He needs to keep at least one of those 2 seats to really have a viable path to 270. I think he can afford to lose one if a couple other pieces fall into place. But if he doesn't have those 2 in his column, it's going to be a pretty tough night for him.
You know, we try
so far so good for the campaign.
We try to extrapolate a bit. We talk about down ballot, but I think Mark Kelly in Arizona is helping Biden up ballot, right? And so in terms of Senate races, you're seeing a couple of trends that could help the Republicans maybe keep the Senate.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, if you take a look at it, it's very early on, but if you take a look at Maine, you see Susan Collins is actually outperforming the president. That's a positive sign for her. Obviously, the ranked choice is going to be critical there. We've talked, I think, ad nauseum about that. Same thing in Michigan. Early on, you have John James actually with better numbers than the president, and that's going to be an interesting race to watch with respect to control of the Senate. You've mentioned the Hickenlooper flipping Colorado. Coach Tuberville down in Alabama actually probably winning that. If it hasn't been called already, I think it has. So John James kind of pulling an upset in Michigan is going to be pretty critical there. And otherwise, you've kind of had a pretty quiet night on the senatorial side. You had Lindsey Graham's race called, which again, the polls showed that kind of swaying every which way and turned out to be wrong there with Lindsey Graham being declared the winner. And then you've got, other states like Senator McConnell and Kentucky actually outperforming what was expected, and same thing in Texas with Senator Cornyn. So it'll be interesting to see the rest of the night.
Can I ask you quickly, because I want to ask you more macro, but let's go to Lindsey Graham and Jamie Harrison for a second, because that felt like it was closer. I mean, we had Lindsey Graham going on national TV begging for money, right? There was $100 million raised on the Democratic side. What happened there at the end?
Yeah, it may have been 100 million plus, to be honest with you. Look, I think, that race was interesting. You had one poll come out of Quinnipiac which showed that race tied, and that literally opened the floodgates for Jamie Harrison to raise an obscene amount of money. If it wasn't but for what Jamie Harrison raised, I think Lindsey Graham actually set Republican fundraising records in South Carolina. But that one poll really kind of showed the fact that, a little bit of good news is enough for that donor base to get excited about it. But at the end, I don't think it was enough. I think it was similar in Kentucky. I mean, you had Amy McGrath pour in something around $88 million towards that race, only to come up not just shy, but significantly shy against Senator McConnell. So again, money is critical, but as we're seeing, it's not everything. You got to have a good ground game.
Yeah, and McConnell never really seemed to be threatened in the polls the way Lindsey Graham was. I want to go back to expanding it out to the presidential race. This is sort of that middle ground where we're waiting for more definitive results. We don't know what's going to get called tonight. So here we are in the middle of the 10 o'clock hour. What's the next big sort of shoe to drop that you're waiting for to make your next sort of analysis?
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, I think to add to the anxiety and stress, it doesn't seem like we'll get, actual call out of Georgia, just, some of the issues that they're having in the Atlanta precinct and some others. It appears that you won't see a final tally out of Pennsylvania, which is unfortunate, but I think we kind of expected that. But the next 3 states that I'm taking a look at are Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona. I think, if the president were going to pull an upset, you'd have to grab one of those 3. Obviously, hold Arizona would be critical. But you could have the Biden campaign come in strong, last minute there. So I think those are the 3 I've got my eyes on moving forward, as well as what happens. Do they call North Carolina tonight? And then the final tally in Michigan is interesting. It's going to be interesting to see that come in.
Wisconsin, in some ways it feels like if Wisconsin or Michigan went red, that would be potentially catastrophic for Biden.
Yeah, I think the Trump campaign early on made the bet that this was a turnout-based election, and they've run that strategy through. And you saw the visits over the weekend. He spent a ton of time in Wisconsin and Michigan, visited North Carolina twice. So I think they kind of knew their path to 270 plus. And I think they weren't fooling themselves. They knew they kind of needed to catch that inside straight. And it appears right now that they're on that path. But a lot can happen. There's still a lot of states that are on a razor-thin margin. You still have a lot of challenges that I'm assuming will come out at some point. Right. And then you've got those critical states of Georgia and Pennsylvania not reporting tonight, which, again, let's see what happens over the next couple of days, but hopefully not much longer than that.
Yeah, the truth is you have to have a lot of patience, and we have to wait. We can talk about the trends, but again, we're just being speculative when we talk about that stuff. Ozzy, as always,
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Ozzy Palomo from Chartwell Strategies. Jackie and Tim, back to you.
Okay, thanks so much, Brian. And now we want to stay in Massachusetts, where Senator Ed Markey has been the projected winner of his Senate race. And we want to talk to Malcolm Johnson.
Yeah, this may be one of the quickest ones that they call. Malcolm Johnson's in Malden with the latest from the Markey campaign. You spoke with the senator. Big win for him tonight. Maybe a no-brainer for him.
Yeah, so Tim, we have actually moved our location from Malden, the hometown of Senator Ed Markey, who's been in politics for more than 40 years, to downtown Boston. He is inside of an office here in the city, as he has not been able to address his supporters in person for the same reason I'm wearing this mask. COVID-19, the pandemic, unallowing us to speak with one another on grand scales where you have these massive gatherings. But the senator, in great spirits, needless to say, very happy about his win tonight. You talk about how quickly they were able to call this race. Less than 5% of the vote came in before they were even able to be declared the winner. The AP declaring it by 8:12, NBC News declaring it by 8:04. I talked to Markey about a number of issues, one of them being expanding upon the Supreme Court, saying that the Republicans have stolen 2 seats. As we know, the Supreme Court currently sits with a Republican majority of 6-3 after Amy Coney Barrett beginning her job recently. I want you to take a listen to Markey, though, talk about how Donald Trump has kept him up over the last 4 years and how that has inspired him to continue his work in public service.
And I'm going to continue to work to protect and advance the rights that everyone in our country is entitled to. So I've never been more invigorated. I've never been more energized fighting against Donald Trump to block his terrible policies, but then fighting even harder to make sure that we put the good policies, the policies of justice, of fairness, of equality on the books for all Americans.
Yeah, when it comes to working for all Americans, Markey also saying he is looking to issue a COVID-19 relief package as soon as possible. I hammered down with the senator. I said, when can Americans expect to get these relief funds? I said, pre-2021, by the end of the year, or will it be after? And he said, if we are able to flip the Senate, then they can expect it hopefully by January 21st of 2021. We'll continue to keep you guys updated with the absolute latest. For now, I'm in Boston, and we'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Malcolm. Well, for the underdog, Kevin O'Connor, not the night he was hoping for. Kat Sotnick is with the O'Connor campaign. Kat, anyone still hanging around that restaurant tonight?
Well, not really. And Tim, we can tell you that Kevin O'Connor just addressed his supporters a little bit ago here in South Boston, and he said that he was thankful for this opportunity. And this right here is video that we got when he walked out to a room full of supporters. They were cheering for him. His family was here as well. And O'Connor was a political newcomer here, a Republican, trying to unseat incumbent Senator Ed Markey. Now, O'Connor lost with his family here to support him, his wife, his 4 sons, his mom, and his dad. And his dad just beat COVID, so extra special to have him here as well for the support. O'Connor is an attorney from Dover, and he says he will continue to fight for the Republican Party. This is what he had to say.
I think we ran a great campaign. I think we did it with civility, professionalism, and it was hard-hitting. So I'm really proud of our campaign, and I'm really grateful to people in Massachusetts. We were so well received. This has been a tough year for the families in Massachusetts, and so we dealt with those challenges just like the families did.
And as for what's next, O'Connor says he'll have to think about that, but it will be a family decision, and he will continue to fight for the Republican Party. We're live here tonight in South Boston. I'm Catherine Sotnick.
Thank you, Kat. 10:26 on this election night. We have a couple updates for you, including New Hampshire, now officially, according to NBC News, projected to go for Joe Biden. So that makes Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Massachusetts all for Biden so far, kind of a stronghold in the Northeast. And you got news on the House as well.
We do have news on the House. NBC News is projecting that the Democrats will keep the House. So not a huge surprise there, but, an update for you. But New Hampshire going to Biden is big news here in New England, and we will continue following all the big news as it comes into our newsroom here on NECN. So stay with us.
Nobody builds a roof like Olin. Serving communities of eastern Massachusetts for over 40 years, Olin is your local roofing expert with the best warranties in the business. Nobody builds a roof like Olin. Call today at 1-877-BUY-OLIN.
Uh-oh, there you go. Slow slicing fruits, veggies, and those stinky onions that bring you to tears. But not anymore. Introducing Nutrachopper, the compact handheld speed slicer that cuts up to 10 times quicker than a knife. Watch. You can have 1 slice or 10 perfect slices at once. Amazing! You can just julienne, or you can bundle slice julienne sticks at lightning speed. With Nutrachopper, you can slice the entire onion or mince a mound of onions and never have time for tears. Why slice a single apple wedge when you can wedge it all in one snap? Nutrachopper comes with the razor-sharp interchangeable stainless steel blades you need to make all of the cuts you want, and all incredibly quick. Chop thick slices, chop thin slices, chop cubes, chop sticks, and wedge whole fruits and vegetables in just 1 second. Slice it and cook it right in the pan, right on your stove. Chop and slice right into the pot for a family-sized stew with no mess. Snap and slice a fruit salad for the kids right into the bowl in seconds. Slice up a healthy salad for a quick and easy meal on the go. Cube meats and cheeses quick, in a snap. And Nutrachopper comes with a perfect portion container and fresh-keeping lid so you can slice it, seal it, and store it all in one. To clean, simply rinse or rack it in the dishwasher. Then lock it to store it safely in a drawer. And now the Nutrachopper with the thin slice, thick slice, wedge, and cube blades, and the slice and store container and lid, a value of over $40, is yours for just $19.95 with free shipping. But wait, order now and we'll send you a second set. Just pay a separate fee. And the shipping is free. You get 2 complete Nutrachopper sets, all for one low-value price with free shipping. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-917-7938 or go online at Nutrachopper.com. That's 1-800-917-7938 or go to Nutrachopper.com. Order now.
Town Fair Tire is New England's largest independent name brand tire dealer with the guaranteed lowest price and the most free services for life. That's why nobody beats a Town Fair Tire deal. Nobody. Town Fair Tire.
Welcome back. It is 10:29 in our Decision 2020 coverage, and all across really the country, people are on edge about what could happen tonight, but businesses in Boston also preparing for potential civil unrest as the election results come in.
We saw it over the last couple of days, a lot of business owners deciding to board up their windows and doors. Eli Rosenberg is in Boston with some boarded up businesses behind you, but seems otherwise quiet out there.
Well, Tim and Jackie, it is very, very quiet. We are on Newberry and Berkeley to give you some perspective. And yes, business after business boarded up. This is a Brooks Brothers. And talking to the companies that have been doing this, they say they really got busy a couple of days ago and were working 16 to 18-hour days to get all these businesses boarded up. Let's talk a little bit about safety and security in place right now. State police is mobilized. We flew over with Sky Ranger a little bit ago. Some more than 100 state police ready to go. The governor here, Charlie Baker, has activated the National Guard, 1,000 National Guard members ready as well, but we have not seen them. We have seen some police patrolling the back bay here. We've also seen police on bicycles, but as you can see behind me, it is very quiet and also very eerie as you look at all these businesses boarded up here, all the way down Newberry and Boylston and all the side streets as well. But the story here in downtown Boston, very quiet as people continue to watch the results come in. In Boston, I'm Eli Rosenberg.
Hey, thanks so much, Eli. And we are seeing a record amount of voters all across the country. Turnout very high this year.
Yeah, a lot of early voting and then a lot of people deciding to wait until today, do it the traditional old-fashioned way. Some people still like to do it that way, show up on the Tuesday of Election Day. Brian Burnell's in Worcester. Brian, how was it coming out today? Kind of slower than a normal year?
Yeah, absolutely, Tim. Slow is definitely the way to describe it. The people working the polls here, they tell me they had a line about 7 o'clock this morning. It dissipated within about an hour, and it's because so many people voted early.
You're glad the election season is over?
Yes.
What is it about this one that has been so difficult?
I think just everyone going through the COVID. I think it just made everyone very confused and we don't know what to do anymore.
The COVID-19 pandemic would certainly be the story of the 2020 presidential campaign, if not for the divide in the American electorate that it magnified.
It's been a long, exhausting process. It keeps you kind of glued to the TV, you know, and to the different announcements and things like that. And I think it's very exhausting, and I am glad that this has finally come to an end.
As voters go to the polls in Worcester, their reasons for voting are as varied as their backgrounds, hopes, and dreams.
I am a mixed-race individual. So on one side of my family, I am supporting those who are immigrants, those who have come to this country who might have not had an equal opportunity. And on the other end, my mother has had a family that's lived here forever. And so I'm supporting both communities today by voting.
Now, Jackie mentioned earlier, and she's probably right, people across the country riveted to their television sets right now and their computers, watching as the results come in, as we wait to see who will be the next president of the United States. But we talked to one voter here today who didn't vote for president. He said he wasn't impressed by Joe Biden or by Donald Trump, but he did vote on the down ballot races here in Worcester. In Worcester, Brian Burnell.
Yeah, a lot of people making a lot of different decisions for different reasons, of course, throughout this election. And we're seeing it all pan out all across the country as we follow that road to 270.
Yeah, you got to get 270 to win. And right now, neither candidate has even reached 100. We knew it would be a little bit slow. Let's get to our Brian Shackman, who's been crunching the numbers all evening long. Those battleground states still up in the air right now.
Yeah, I want to talk about North Carolina for a second, guys, because obviously we haven't seen any state really flip yet, and we talked about Arizona before. Right now, we showed you before, Biden was a little bit ahead. Right now, Trump is leading 49.8 to 49. It's still very tight. We're talking about basically less than 45,000 votes, but 89% has been reported. So right now, a tight lead for Donald Trump in the state of North Carolina, which if it had gone blue, it really could have helped out Joe Biden a lot if he didn't win Ohio or Pennsylvania, because he could have won basically this state with Wisconsin and Michigan and still potentially taken the White House. I also want to talk about the Senate race, because we've talked a fair amount about it, and it's been a flip since the last time we talked about it. Cunningham now losing to Tom Tillis, the Republican. So if this held true, again, too close to call, 89%, but that would be a Republican hold in a state that was there was a lot of expectation that maybe it could have flipped over to the Democrats in the Senate. So we're watching the Senate closely. We've been told that the House has been held by the Democrats, so that's something to think about there. Now, in terms of, we wanted to look at one more state. What state we want to look at? Virginia. Yeah, Virginia's been a fascinating state because I wanted to point out because NBC right now has Virginia with Donald Trump up 52.8 to 45.4 with 55% in. And this is where the 2020 changes things a little bit because they counted really the day of vote first here, and then the mail-in and the absentees come after that. So there's a lot of feeling that Biden's going to make a strong move here. It just hasn't happened yet. Right now, Trump is winning. This would be a flip. Of course, Virginia was blue in 2016. So keep an eye on Virginia. Right now, Trump is ahead, but the expectation is that this will tighten up and Biden has a good chance of moving ahead. It just hasn't happened yet.
And Brian, so interesting that in that case, you know, early in-person election is getting the count first because so many other states are doing their mail-in or the absentee ballot first. So different states, different rules, and we're covering it all. We also want to talk to political reporter Allison King, too, because she's been covering this for, you know, the extent of this campaign.
Yeah, pundits said you can't treat it like a horse race where it's neck and neck. It'll be here and then a little bit of here and then somebody will come back. New Hampshire went relatively late. It seemed like Biden campaign was polling out in front in the days and weeks prior. Finally called a little while ago. Allison, what's going on with New Hampshire? This expected?
Yeah, you know, this was expected for the most part, Tim. The 10-point lead over the past couple of weeks. But what was interesting was Donald Trump really wanted the state of New Hampshire. It was his first electoral win in 2016 during the primary. He had a soft spot and always has for New Hampshire. He mentions it every time he goes to the state. He did 2 big rallies there that were just the second one in particular I was at. Thousands of very energized people there. Mike Pence was there twice. Don Jr. was there a couple of times. Melania came. The Biden campaign did not put in half the amount of resources and time, money, and energy that the Trump folks did. They had an excellent ground game, 2.3 million hits in the state, but it was not enough to overcome Joe Biden, who, even though he never made a trip to New Hampshire, was able to hold on to that state.
Allison, the Markey campaign must have been happy. They called that race at like 8:02, 8:03. Any members of the Massachusetts Congressional Delegation that should be worried here this evening?
Yeah, you know, no big surprises here in Massachusetts tonight. Certainly in the congressional field, just about most of the members of Congress did have challengers. A lot of them never really got much traction. Certainly Markey's challenger, Republican Kevin O'Connor, put up a good fight, but it was not enough to fend off Markey, who had been through his own really contentious primary against Congressman Joe Kennedy. Jake Auchincloss seems to have had a pretty easy win over his Republican challenger, Julie Hall. So no big surprises in this state.
So no surprises here in Massachusetts for the most part. That in itself is really not a surprise, but there could be surprises throughout the nation. So that's something that we're closely following. Allison King live in our newsroom. Thanks so much.
All right, racial equality has been a big issue on this campaign all summer long as well into the month of November.
Yeah, not just in the presidential race. It's an issue that's really shaking up the Senate races. And our Sue O'Connell is here now with more on this. Sue, it's really an issue that no politician could really ignore this year.
No, not at all. And it is impacting not just the presidential race, as you said, but the races for Congress and the races for Senate. And joining me again is the president of the NAACP Boston, Tanisha Sullivan. Tanisha, welcome back. So what would happen if the Senate flips blue? How would a Democratic Senate impact racial equality and the work for justice?
Well, Sue, you know, I think regardless of who is controlling the Senate, regardless of who's in the White House, the issue of racial equality, poll after poll has told us that this issue is one that is top of mind for the American people. That said, certainly if the Senate were to flip blue, if the Democrats were to control the Senate, it would absolutely change kind of our path, if you will, to achieving greater racial equality in this country. Certainly the policies that would be advanced, presumably, would be more in line with what we're seeing and hearing from folks at the grassroots level and many who have been marching in the streets for the past 6, 8, 12 weeks. So certainly this issue of racial equality, again, that is top of mind for so many Americans, regardless of background, will be impacted by who is controlling the Senate.
I want to talk to you, too, about voter turnout. We've talked a number of times over the year about whether or not the outpouring of demonstrations and support and actions would actually translate into getting to the polls to vote. I think it's safe to say that it has. What are your reactions to what we expect, regardless of the outcome, to be a historic voter turnout in this election?
Yes, 2020 has absolutely proven to be a win for democracy, I would say, at this point, in terms of voter turnout. We could not be more pleased, I don't think, with the voter turnout than what we've seen thus far. And I think that can be attributed to certainly the presidential race, but also, I would say, because of some of the structural changes that have been put in place this year to help address the COVID-19 concerns. So expanding early voting, mail-in balloting, no-fault absentee balloting, if you will. These structural changes have made it easier. It has made the ballot more accessible. And I think that those two have contributed to the increase in voter engagement and voter turnout. Now, we've got to make sure that every one of those votes count. And so that is where our focus will continue to be over the next 24, 48, 72 hours, or however long it takes.
All right, Tanisha Sullivan, thanks so much for joining me on election night. Enjoy seeing you. Stay safe. Back to you, Tim and Jackie.
Yes, Jackie, thanks so much, Sue. Nice
It's getting late, Sue. I get it. 10:45 past your bedtime.
I'm just teasing. I knew. I had a sandwich. I'm good.
I'll send you over a Red Bull. Thanks so much, Sue. And we still have a lot more election coverage still ahead, but let's take a look at the latest numbers coming into our newsroom. There are, the Maine U.S. Senate race, only 27% reporting right now, but Susan Collins is up 57% to Sarah Gideon's 36%. But again, 27% reporting, still much too close to call.
We've been talking about the ballot questions in Massachusetts for a while, and this one appears to be a runaway. This is question one, the right to repair, with about 55% reporting yes has 75% of the votes, while no only has 25.
And question two, also at 55% reporting, the no seems to be up, but just slightly, 53% to yes is 47%. We will continue to cover all of these very close races as we go forward throughout the evening.
Yeah, we know that the House is going to the Dems. It's going to remain a majority for Democrats. Senate's still up in the air. Presidential race still up in the air. We got a lot ahead. Stay with us right here on NECN.
Do you have a coffee smile? Drinking coffee causes yellow teeth for thousands of people just like you. And whitening toothpaste just doesn't make those stains go away. Introducing Power Swabs, the first teeth whitening system that lifts coffee stains off your teeth in less than 5 minutes without whitening strips or trays. The secret is a tooth detergent and whitening agent developed by Dr. Martin Ginniker that lifts stains off of your teeth. Power Swabs remove stains on natural teeth, veneers, bonding, caps, and crowns. The best part is, you just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you'll have whiter teeth. No more sitting at home with a whitening strip or tray in your mouth for 30 minutes twice a day. Call for your 5-minute solution to whiter teeth. Get a beautiful smile this Thanksgiving with a 40% off discount. Plus, get free shipping and a free Quick Stick pen. Visit powerswabs.com or call the number on your screen.
When you hear people say that you get addicted quick. I can't stress enough how important it was for me looking back on what they did. I mean, yes, it's their job, but you would never know it was their job. These were like people who came in and they saved my life.
If you or someone you know is struggling with alcohol or drug addiction, call now.
Wubble Rumblers, Full Nelson, ready. Air Ninja, ready. It's battle time with Wubble Rumblers. Punchable, kickable, whackable, smackable, oversized fun. Just blow them up and battle. Made from squishy, squashy, super wubble-lastic material. You can pop them, chop them, kick them, and just go wubble crazy on them. Practice power moves with your furious fist. Or use the karate chop for crazy combos. Sneak attack, body slam him full Nelson, and he'll come back for more. Have a Wubble Rumbler Royale with the whole fam. Just don't try and scare Graham. Play Wubble Rumblers Tag, or have a title fight the next sleepover night. Wubble Rumblers. You can choose from Full Nelson, Air Ninja, Furious Fist, or Karate Chop with exclusive TV-only sticker sheet for $14.99 plus $4.99 processing and handling. Must be 18 or older to order, each sold separately.
Welcome back to our Decision 2020 coverage. We want to get another check of the road to 270, the all-important number that someone has to reach.
270 is the goal. Neither of them are even halfway there, but they have passed the 100 electoral votes each, according to NBC's projection. Let's get to Brian Scheckman with a look at the big board, the big map there, Brian.
Yeah, we got Illinois went to Biden, and Kansas and Missouri to President Trump. So we're going to, at the top of the hour, we'll update all the numbers. You know, we talk about paths to 270, right? And there's several paths you can go. We'll talk about Arizona a little later. One real viable path really has to pass through these mid-Atlantic states and the Midwest, and we're talking about Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Now, Pennsylvania, we're not going to know for a while. Who knows when we'll know, but we're pretty sure it's not going to be tonight. But I want to focus on Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Now, Ohio, right now, as it stands, you have Donald Trump 51.8 to 46.8. So compared to the last time we checked, he has widened that lead. There is 74% reporting. Again, still 26% to go, but again, it's trending red. Now, the other state I wanted to start off with there is Michigan, in terms of where we stand right now. Michigan and Wisconsin don't have a lot reporting, but I did want to touch on it because we haven't talked about it. 37% in. It has Donald Trump up 54.9% to 43.3%. And again, I caution people about what they're counting and when. A lot of this, the expectation was Donald Trump would have a big day of vote, and maybe the mail-in and the absentee would favor Biden a little bit. So they're most likely counting those day of votes first. But right now, if this were to go red, it would be a major, major problem for Joe Biden. But again, too early to even discuss that. But it's just good to note that. Now, the last thing I want to touch on would be Wisconsin. Many people I spoke to view Wisconsin and Michigan as must-wins for Joe Biden. I mean, many people didn't equivocate at all. 39%, so a little bit more reporting. And again, have the same grain of salt. This is about a 10,000 vote difference, 50.2% to 48.1. But if we can toggle back to the map, John, if we can, when we talk about what needs to happen from 2016, and again, if, say, Ohio stays red, you take Michigan and Wisconsin, and if they go blue, which right now they're not, it'll be 258 for Clinton, but it bears repeating. Just move the cursor, John, so we can get rid of that. And Pennsylvania, that's where Pennsylvania becomes extremely important for Joe Biden. And some people think that this is his most viable path, not the only path. And we'll talk about Arizona. So right now, Trump is leading in Wisconsin and Michigan with a long way to go. But those are states I really think are crucial if you are a supporter of Joe Biden. Back to you guys.
Okay, Brian Scheckman breaking it all down for us, doing the math so we don't have to.
No real surprises yet. No real swing states decided yet. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. It's 10:47. We told you it might be a long night. Stay with us. We're going to be around for, well, as long as it takes. We'll be right back. You're watching NECN and the Decision 2020 live coverage.
Do you care about climate change, about social justice, about your community and your world? So do we. We're NBCLX, a new network dedicated to bringing you the news and events that matter most to you.
Making news right now.
Stories you'll want to share with your friends.
It's time to check out some of the biggest stories that people are sharing right now.
News you need to know.
We got more news to get to.
Designed for you and the way you live.
Yes!
Watch LX News weekday mornings and evenings, over the air, on cable, and at LX.com.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Who am I?
Under eye bags and wrinkles are so frustrating. I came across Plexaderm and I was so excited. We have a model. All he's doing is taking a small amount. It's so powerful, that's all it takes. Tightens the skin and smooths it out. Gently rub it underneath your eyes, on your fine lines and wrinkles, and it visibly disappears in as little as 10 minutes.
You know, I felt something happening, but I had no idea. Like, I have so many dark circles, I have the puffiness, I have the lines. Like, it's amazing. I love it.
Holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good, feels great, looks even better.
This Thanksgiving is the best time to get Plexaderm for only $14.95 and see it work for yourself after your first application. Your solution is at plexadermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
Wubble Rumblers, Full Nelson, ready. Air Ninja, ready. It's battle time with Wubble Rumblers. Punchable, kickable, whackable, smackable, oversized fun. Just blow them up and battle. Made from squishy, squashy, super wubble-lastic material. You can pop them, chop them, kick them, and just go wubble crazy on them. Practice power moves with your furious fist. Or use the karate chop for crazy combos. Sneak attack, body slam Full Nelson, and he'll come back for more. Have a Wubble Rumbler Royale with the whole fam. Just don't try and scare Graham. Play Wubble Rumblers Tag. Or have a title fight the next sleepover night. Wubble Rumblers. You can choose from Full Nelson, Air Ninja, Furious Fist, or Karate Chop with exclusive TV-only sticker sheet for $14.99 plus $4.99 processing and handling. Must be 18 or older to order, each sold separately.
It is 10:50 in our decision 2020 coverage. It is getting late.
Getting late.
I think my feet are more worn out than my mind, so stick with me here. Regardless of the outcome tonight, Senator Kamala Harris, of course, has made history in this election. Win or lose, this is really an incredible evening for her.
She's from California. The polls close there in about 9 minutes. They'll likely go Democrat, but still a big deal for her either way. Here's Sue O'Connell back more with her story.
Yes, I'm back more, you guys.
Back with more.
Okay.
Listen, it's late, Sue.
It's late.
Past our bedtime.
It's very exciting because Kamala Harris, either way, is making history tonight. And that's exciting for a number of reasons. And my friend Alethea Harney is joining us. She's a Democratic political strategist. Why are you excited about Kamala Harris, Alethea?
Because Kamala Harris represents America. And it's been so exciting over the last, few weeks that she's been on the campaign to see people really mobilize around her from the Asian community and from the Black community and from the white community and from the Hispanic community. I think a lot of people see themselves in Kamala Harris. And it's been really exciting to see that.
You know, last time we spoke, we talked about the cultural differences and bridges that Senator Harris just naturally is able to accomplish. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I think that, someone like that has to find commonalities with all sorts of different people. And because of that, I think she was really able to engage with average voters from all sorts of different backgrounds. And I think that was really an asset to Joe Biden and also a compliment to Joe Biden, who also that's part of his personality as well. And so I think that that's why the two of them were able to be such a great team.
Now, you worked on Joe Biden's campaign in 2008, and I'm wondering...
I did, yep.
What are some differences...
It was a little different.
A little different. What are some differences you see in the way the campaign has been run this time as opposed to 2008?
I mean, there are many, many differences, but one of the things that I would say is I think that this campaign was particularly disciplined. And I think that the vice president was incredibly disciplined, stuck to the message from the beginning of the campaign. He said that he was going to restore the soul of the nation. That's how he closed the campaign. He has the experience and the temperament to lead our country out of the mess that we're in right now, to help unify people, not just, represent the Democrats who vote for him, but Republicans and Democrats and independents and everybody across America. So what I would say is it was incredibly disciplined, but it also, they had resources. And it was just amazing to watch. It was like a real campaign. Not that the campaign in 2008 wasn't a real campaign, but you know, we barely made it. We didn't make it out of Iowa.
Yeah,
you know?
money makes a difference. I want to ask you too about Senator Markey, who won the race, but you know, I think it's pretty clear when he won the primary against Representative Joe Kennedy, he was winning the race. What are your thoughts about Markey's win
today? I mean, I think that he deserved it. I think that, you know, while I supported Kennedy in the primary, I think that Markey worked really hard, and I hope that now he still has a lot of energy and the stamina that he put into the campaign to kind of help us get to be where we need to be when it comes to Congress doing some work. Just one more thing that I would like to say, though, is that today I think a lot of us, I'm a Rasky Bearline alum, and I think that a lot of us in the New England area who worked for Larry, he was the reason, he was our connection to Joe Biden in the first place, and he believed in him so much. You know, he was his first communications director on the 88 campaign, and I think a lot of us are thinking of him today and know he's smiling down on us and wants us to fight this out until we can. I know we don't know anything quite yet, but I know he's really proud of us, and you know, we're just so grateful and really miss him.
A lot of people thinking about Larry Rasky today, and I'm sure they appreciate you bringing it up, and I appreciate you joining us on this election night. So thanks so much.
Of course.
Can't wait to talk with you again, Alethea. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you,
5 minutes. Oh, sorry to interrupt you guys. 5 minutes to 11 o'clock. So we want to swing up to New Hampshire real quick because that one was decided fairly early in the presidential election.
Yeah, we're actually going to go to Vermont just for right now. We're going to talk to Jack Thurston. He has been following all the latest up there from governor, lieutenant governor, everything going on. Jack, it is very, very quiet, as it should be during a pandemic there right now.
Indeed, Jackie, we've had a flurry of cities and towns report their results in just the past 10 minutes here, especially here in the Burlington area, which is really the population center of Vermont. However, it's still too close to call. Our closely watched lieutenant governor's race between Democrat Molly Gray and Scott Milne. We're still waiting on a call in that race. However, we did get a call in the governor's race. Incumbent Republican Phil Scott handily won re-election to a third term, and he had a message not just for Vermonters, but really for the entire country in his acceptance speech, which he gave from his own garage, flanked by his antique motorcycles. Let's hear from the governor.
We simply cannot go on like this. Our nation is hurting, not just from COVID-19, but because of another virus that has infected the hearts and minds of too many Americans. That of hate, fear, and division. We must confront this with the same force and energy we're putting towards the coronavirus.
A call for civility there from the governor, who today voted for Joe Biden, saying that he was putting country over party, the first time he ever voted for a Democrat for president. Also worth noting, in that acceptance address, which was not very political, he urged Vermonters to continue doing a good job with public health measures when it comes to the coronavirus. He asks people to keep washing their hands, keeping their distance, and doing everything they can do to keep their neighbors safe and healthy. Tim and Jackie.
Up in Vermont, interestingly enough, I wonder if the lieutenant governor gets to ride in like the sidecar of one of those antique motorcycles. Whoever wins the race, maybe that's the prize too.
We're impressed.
Yes.
Okay, let's get right out to some of our latest numbers coming into our newsroom. We have the Maine U.S. Senate, 35% reporting, 58% for Susan Collins right now. Sarah Gideon, 36%, and that is still way too close to call.
Lisa Savage with 4% could come in play when you talk about ranked choice voting. We'll keep a close eye on this race and all the other ones, including the ballot questions. We'll be back at 11.
For all your election night coverage, count on NECN, New England's connection.
Oh no, you hate coming home to a dark house, and you're uptight about noises outside in the night. Outdoor lighting systems cost a fortune, and leaving lights on all night drives utility bills out of sight. You need the Bell & Howell Bionic Spotlight, the outdoor motion sensor light that is motion activated, so it automatically turns on the instant motion is detected and turns off when the motion stops. Bionic Spotlight is solar powered, so there's no expensive wiring or batteries to change. Simply place it where the solar panel can soak up the sun, and you're done. The panel collects the sun's energy to charge all day, so it has the power to provide light when and where you need it all night. Bionic Spotlight looks just like a professional security camera that is actually a high-tech security light with smart motion sensing technology. Look, the instant the motion sensor detects movement, Bionic Spotlight triggers 8 high-intensity LED lights that shower the entire area with light, covering over 600 square feet. The light stays on for as long as the motion continues and then shuts off 30 seconds after it stops. So there's no more arriving home to a dark house. Illuminate walkways and stairwells for visitors and guests. Light up your garden at night or the yard for kids and pets. Add Bionic Spotlight to your sports court and to help secure outbuildings and storage sheds. So you can spend hundreds of dollars on an outdoor lighting system, or you can save hundreds of dollars and get the motion-activated Bionic Spotlight for just $19.95 with free shipping. Bionic Spotlight is year-round outdoor durable and weather-resistant and backed by our 5-year warranty. And if it fails for any reason, return it for a full refund. But wait, if you order right now, you can double the offer and get a second Bionic Spotlight. Just pay a separate fee. You get it all. 2 Bionic Spotlights backed by our 5-year warranty for one low-value price. And the shipping is free. And when you call, ask about the contractor's discount on the complete 6-light